So to get to the caller's dashboard, or to have your telemarketer get to the caller's dashboard, you need to go to the subdirectory where on the domain that you install it on, call it MVC, and you'll get this screen. Then what they need to do is click on this window, and that will open up a pop-up window. And we've purposely designed My Virtual Caller to have the caller's interface come up in a pop-up window so you would have more screen real estate to have another browser open while you're making your calls, okay? And you'll see why in a second. So let's log in and let's start going through the caller's dashboard. So you'll have all your contact information right here, of course, and you can be filling it in and making changes as you're on a call. And you can, when you made any changes, make sure you hit save. You can move through your records by using next and previous. Now, when you disposition the call, it will actually move the record forward for you, okay? If you disposition the call to no contact, when your caller starts their next session, that record will show up. So if they've made 2-3 calls and they have not connected with that person, probably just mark it as a bad number is probably what I would do, okay? Because you haven't been able to reach them. If you ended up leaving a voicemail, click it as voicemail. If you're keep on hitting the gatekeeper and you're not getting through, maybe that's something that you can mark it as a gatekeeper too. Remember, in the back end, you can export based on these denotations. So maybe if you're keep on hitting the gatekeeper, you're not getting through, maybe you want to take that list and do some direct mail with it, okay? So that's the idea behind this. Then we have all these buttons over here, all right? So if you want to search your database, you can. You can search on contact, company, phone number, email address, a partial of that, so you can kind of drill in to the contact list if you want to. You can add a note simply by clicking here and putting in some note. And it'll be in order as you keep on adding them. You can delete the note here. I'm just going to go back once and come here, and you can see that there's this denotation now. It says see notes. So if you're doing a callback, you can say there's notes. You want to see what the notes are. You can either click here or click on notes, and it'll bring up your notes so you can review your notes before you talk to your prospect. You can set a callback here, okay? You can do that by simply clicking on here. And let's say I want to call this person back on the 24th at 8 a.m. It's done. All I have to do is hit the callback, and now it's set up as a callback, and it's one of these filters. So I have a future one in here, and you can see that this is a callback I have set up. And we can go to past due. There's nothing there, and there's nothing for today, of course. Right now, again, you and your callers can have multiple campaigns. You could have, like, this is like pizza restaurants and on the West Coast. I could have pizza restaurants on the East Coast. And let's say, part of my day is I'm calling on the East Coast, and part of my day I'm calling on the West Coast. I can jump between the list and chase time zones. And sometimes you have to do that to maximize your calling, okay? Because there's certain times of the day that's best to call a certain to call a business that you actually reach the business owner. Your call scripts are right here. When you click on this, it'll open up in another browser, and this is the reason why you really want to have your real estate, a decent screen real estate. So you can have this open, you can have this screen open, and you can look at it. Make sure to watch the video on Google Docs and creating your scripts with Google Docs, because you can see here it's a great way to do your scripts. You can kind of jump to how they answer. All right, you can look at their website while you're on the call by clicking on this button. Maybe you can have a conversation about their website. You can check the weather while you're on the call with them. This will go out to the zip code and look at the weather for the zip code. This is a great way to break the ice sometimes. So we put that little feature in there for you, so you can see how powerful it is. If you want to send off a one-off email, pretty straightforward. Just click on Open Email. And I use Gmail, okay? And I highly recommend to use either Gmail or Google Business and their services to send out your mail as far as one-off, because there's another company out there called Yesware, and Yesware will allow you to template your emails and also track your emails opens and clicks, okay? Which is really good data to know whether or not they're engaging the content that you're sending them. They have a free account where you can send out up to 100 emails a month that they'll track, or you can pick up a paid account for $10 a month and they'll do unlimited tracking for you. Okay, all your templates are kind of over here, so you just have to fill in the blanks here, hit insert, and then just hit send, and out the door it goes. It's pretty straightforward. And we'll leave that, so we don't need that. So I want to talk to you about Pipedrive and the MailChimp API, okay? While My Virtual Caller is a great system for prospecting, I would consider it a mini CRM. So while you're in the what I like to call the suspect phase of your sales funnel, it works perfectly. But when it's time to escalate them to a prospect or a hot prospect where they're really interested in having a presentation about your services, then you're probably going to want to move them into Pipedrive. Okay. Now let's say you have a small team of telemarketers doing this initial front end work for you, and so you could be working out of your Pipedrive account, and your telemarketers could be working out of My Virtual Caller. And every time they escalate something for you, they can move it into Pipedrive, and that's when you pick it up, or maybe an inside salesperson picks it up and runs with it. So just kind of keep that in mind. It will move over. You do want to have most of this contact information filled out. If you go and click on Pipedrive and you get an error, it's because you're missing information. Now we have put in some checks for no contact name and for the website. Okay, so if these are left blank, the record still will port over. But if, let's say, company name is not filled out or the email address is not filled out, I believe will not port over for you. So you actually want to get that information, and you really shouldn't be putting that type of information inside of Pipedrive until you get this filled out. So to move this data into Pipedrive, all you have to do is click on the Pipedrive button, and you'll see what's going to happen. It's going to go and create a deal. All right. So it creates a deal, adds the contact information as a person, and then adds the company information to the organizations. All right, so when you click on this, you can see now that you have all the data. You can then come in and edit your deal. Now remember, this deal was set up in the settings tab in the admin, so make sure you watch that video. And let's say this was a rep video. All right, and it's for $297. We'll just say that's what the deal was. Okay. If you want to see where the website is, websites will be found under the company right here. So that's where you'll find websites. Also too, any notes that you have, they will be ported over. So here's the note right here, all right? That was ported over. So all the note communication that they have in there will be pushed over to here. So that's a good feature too. So that's Pipedrive. I love that feature. Again, it's used to when you're escalating a suspect to a prospect, your telemarketers. This is a great tool. All right, MailChimp. I really like MailChimp. MailChimp is a great email service. Its user interface is very friendly, very straightforward. It allows you to set up email funnels. Okay, as you know, reaching out to people takes a lot of points of contact, and I most of the time will put together a series of at least 4 initial emails in my initial prospecting, which will initially start off with a call to gather an email address, try to set a presentation appointment if I can. If not, they go into a 4-point email sequence, of which the 6 they run over 4 days. So I know at the end of a 4-day work week, I know on the 5th day I can make that phone call. And so what I'll do is I'll run them through 4 days of emails, and then I'll schedule a call back on the 5th day inside of My Virtual Caller, and I'll set a note that they've gone through this sequence. And you can also go back into MailChimp to see whether or not who's opened or who hasn't opened your email. That's a great thing, is that they have a good scoring system. You can see who is. You go from a 2-star to a 3-star if they've opened your email, and you go to a 3 to a 4-star if they've actually clicked on a link. So those are the ones that are very engaging. So you can actually export out of here if you want to. So there's this field right here called salutation that we created. because sometimes you may not be talking to the contact person, which would possibly be your gatekeeper, okay? In a scenario when you're working with, say, medical people, you're in all probability not going to send an email directly to the doctor. What you're probably going to do is send it to the front desk. So the conversation that you'd have is with the front desk person, and let's say that front person's desk name was Denise, right? Well, that's who I want to send the email to, and then she'll forward it on to doctor. That's typically the process that happens within the medical sector, okay? So once I have all this information, I can push this data over. Now, depending upon how you set up your list, and let's take a quick look at this list here, okay? We'll go to settings. You want to make sure that you set up these custom fields. Now, I've done some training on this. Make sure you go through the training on how to set this up. But as you can see, you can move over all this data. Now, this is a standard field. The email is a standard field. The first name is a standard field. The last name is a standard field. These are all custom fields, and you do that by clicking on the add function and doing text, okay? And also, I'll give you the list. This is exactly what the field name has to be named, okay? If you don't do this, it will not move over and will cause problems. So make sure if you want to port all of this data over, make sure you set it up. Make sure you watch that training video on how to do that. So that's that. Let's go back to the list here, list view. And so when I click on this, what just happened is the contact information has been moved over to MailChimp. Now, it can take up to 5 minutes for it to show up on your list, okay? But fear not, this has been moved over. So that wraps up pretty much MailChimp and what you can do with it. And really, pretty much everything I want to cover with you in regards to the caller's dashboard. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.